Hey, what's up? This is Derek Murphy from creativity.com. It's been a while since I've posted content on YouTube, but I'm starting to get settled in Taiwan. The last 3 years, I've been traveling full time. I really wanted to focus more on my writing, so we've moved to an apartment in Taiwan. I'm getting it set up. I haven't really decided what's going to be the backdrop yet. I might move around once I get some good camera lights in here, but I wanted to make a first video talking about Prime, Amazon Prime, because I got an invitation email today for 2 of my books, which was a little bit exciting. I'm going to talk about why I took the deal and why I kind of recommend Prime for authors. So basically, in a nutshell, Amazon has a Kindle Unlimited program where people can pay a certain amount of money per month and get a bunch of books. And if they read your book all the way to the end, you get paid in page reads. Kindle Prime is a little bit different. It's some reading bonuses that they offer people who have signed up in their Amazon Prime package. It's kind of a different system, but it's very similar. Here's what generally happens. I've had books in Prime before. My best-selling book I had, I think, in Prime, and also got a BookBub, and then I had book 2 out on pre-order. So I made a lot of money that month. It was really good for me. But since then, the last couple of years, I haven't been very good at following up with sequels, and I haven't still finished any series. This is after 3 or 4 years. I have a lot of book ones that are still out there. And my book ones do okay, but I can never really do great because the real money comes when you have more content, you have a finished box set, audiobooks maybe, then you can be spending more money on advertising because it's easier to make it back. Until you can advertise profitably and make your money back, it's difficult to make a living as an author. So I wasn't really expecting a Prime deal because typically they'll reach out to books that are already selling pretty well. Although they have scouts, I think, who go through my books. They've been doing okay. They probably hover around the 60,000 range, which isn't terrible. And they're in Keigyou and they're really long. So especially for Shearwater, which is like 140,000 words, even though it doesn't really earn a lot. I think it's like $5.99 or something for the ebook, which is a little bit high, but it's a very long book. And I only have book 1 out, so I'm not really focused on profit. And it has like 600 reviews or something. So there are quality metrics besides sales that are also useful. I feel like if Amazon Prime scouts are looking through Amazon, then they're going to be curious about the ones that are selling really well, but they're also going to be looking at the ones that review very well, that have long-term tenacity. And I mean, I would be much happier if I was advertising. Those books would be down in, the $20,000 range, $20,000 rank range, and earning more. But I'm not really advertising because book 2s aren't out yet for both of those books. So one of the reasons that we moved back to Taiwan is so that I can focus on writing this year and finish up some of my series. So the 2 books that they actually picked to invite to Amazon Prime, and they send out an email. You can join Kindle Unlimited whenever you want, but you have to be invited to Amazon Prime. And the reason that I was quick to accept is that those are the 2 books that I plan to follow up with sequels this year. So getting more visibility for those 2 first books is great. And I also recently got my pre-order privileges back. I've lost those in the past. I think 2 or 3 years in a row I've lost my pre-order privileges because I put a lot of stuff out for pre-order. But I'm not very good at writing to deadlines. Generally, I underestimate how long it's going to take me to finish a book. I'm not a pantser, so I can outline a book and I can diligently finish it if if every day is perfect, if I do my work every day. But I'm also not a very good multitasker, so that means like I can do 2,000 or 3,000 words a day, but then I'm brain dead for the rest of the day. I don't get a lot of other work done. If writing a book is the only thing on my plate, I can finish it. But when I get distracted by other things, I still have some clients or some business stuff to kind of manage. Then sometimes life gets in the way. I don't finish a pre-order. They've changed the rules. I might make another video on pre-orders, but I think early this year they changed the rules where you can now set pre-orders up to a year in advance, and you can also cancel or push back your pre-order up to a month without getting the 1-year ban that was the previous penalty, which I've suffered 2 or 3 years at least. But anyway, I just got my pre-order privileges back, which means now that these books are going into Prime, I can set a pre-order and I can set it, a year in advance. What's generally helpful is I believe you can set it up to a year in advance and you can push it forward with no penalty. So I can set it up for a year in advance and still shoot for a couple months out and then move it forward. Whereas if I shoot for a couple months out and I miss it, I can only push it one more month before getting more trouble. So the other reasons I took this Prime deal, I'm not really counting on it for extra income. I do think it gives you quite a big visibility boost, which will help my rankings a lot. It's not necessarily going to fix things like conversion or getting more book reviews or like when people get on the page, will they buy it or not? And I don't think I will make more money just by being in Prime reading. You'd have to, if you're interested in it, you'd have to read the details more carefully and see exactly what you get and what you don't get. But from what I've heard from my author friends, they're kind of disappointed by the remuneration. They don't really get paid to be in Prime. Maybe the people who are paying Amazon for that Prime package, you're not getting a lot of that money, which might sound disconcerting, but I think it's worth it for the visibility boost. They're basically showing me to more readers for free by giving my book away for free to some people who have enrolled in other Amazon programs. So it may not be a direct monetary benefits that I'm going to see, but I will see a boost in rank. I'll see more visibility. More real readers who aren't in Amazon Prime necessarily will find my books more easily. And if I have more people coming into book 1 and I have book 2 out on pre-order, whoops, my chair is collapsing. If I have all that set up, and I'm scared to do pre-orders, but they do really work for motivation for me. It's too easy without any pre-order to just say, you know, why do I need to finish this book? It doesn't matter. I have tons of books I want to finish, and the only way I'm going to get through them is to tackle them one at a time. It does help to have some kind of a hard deadline, even one with penalties. So it has, you know, I'm pushed by pre-orders to do more work. I don't always get them finished, but I always do a lot more work than I would have if I didn't put it on pre-order. So as scary as it is, I've got one I just put up on pre-order already. That's one of the books that went into Prime, so I'll probably focus on that one. And then once I start working on that other second Shearwater book, which is going to be long, 140,000 words or something like the first book. So it's going to take maybe 2 or 3 months for me to get that one done. But it's a lot more exciting writing a sequel when book 1 is selling. It's a little risky or demoralizing to be working so hard on a sequel when nobody is buying book 1 anyway, because you know that book 2 may not necessarily help your marketing problems. You probably have conversion issues with the first book. I know that my first book sell and the conversion is good enough. If I was advertising, it'd be good enough to just about break even with book 1. Once I have book 2 out, it's going to be a lot easier. And eventually when I finish the series, I can start advertising pretty hard. So for me personally, this made a lot of sense, mostly because I'm already planning to start finishing the series and especially book 2 within, the next few months. So I can really take advantage. I believe the Prime offer is a 90-month deal, kind of like the Kindle Unlimited, and then they might renew it if it's doing well. So that basically means it's a little bit of a lighting a fire effect, because now that when it goes into Prime, they just sent me the offer. I would guess it'll happen like within a week. I think they're pretty quick about it, that they'll put the book in Prime, which means I need to have book 2's out and finished. And I was actually planning on redoing the covers and redoing the blurbs a little bit once I finish the series, but now I kind of have a shortened window of 90 days to make sure I could get the most benefits out of this Kindle Prime program by having my book 2's out as soon as possible. So that's one of the big reasons that I took it. I think if you're already in Kindle Unlimited, it's only for Kindle Unlimited authors, which I also recommend for first-time authors, which is another topic you can ask me about. I've made videos on in the past. But it's also kind of like, not everybody gets invited. It's not just dependent on sales. I've seen books that don't sell very well that get invited to Kindle Prime. There does seem to be a little bit of quality control where somebody is actively reviewing books and inviting them based on, like, there's a certain quality bar which doesn't exist in Kindle Unlimited, but I feel like with Kindle Prime, it's almost a little bit of a compliment when they invite you. even though it's also true that they're kind of just repurposing their content for free to make more money off of Prime readers without paying the authors what they deserve. That's all true. I think they're paying less than probably what you get from Kindle Unlimited. That's all true, and I'm still joining because I know that they're gonna show my book to more people. Amazon is still the biggest platform. It's the easiest way to reach more readers. Doesn't mean I support all their business practices, but until there are better solutions for me to reach more readers without doing anything, I only had to click, yes, I accept, and they're gonna take care of the rest. Rather than focusing on the advertising or running the Amazon ads, which is expensive, this is just going to be all done for me behind the scenes. I know I'm going to get more readers, and that's kind of why I picked it. If you have any questions or comments about Prime, what you think of Prime, whether or not your books have been invited, or whether you'd like to be invited, or what can you do to get invited, etc., you can post them in the comments down below. Thanks, bye-bye.